A Viking's Crossing. I recently completed a transatlantic cruise on the Viking Sky. The cruise was called a Viking's Crossing. It started in Barcelona, stopped on the islands of Madeira in Portugal and St. Martin in the Caribbean, and finished in Fort Lauderdale. This video is an overview of the cruise experience. If you would like to know more about the ship's layout and the cruise destinations, I have posted additional videos and have left links in the description below. This trip was not on my bucket list. I had never thought of taking a transatlantic cruise because I'm more interested in visiting destinations than in the cruise experience. However, my sister and brother-in-law had booked it and invited me to join them. Since this was one of the most affordable cruises that Viking offers, I decided to take them up on it, even though I did not get a discount as a solo traveler. I did get a small discount because I had been on Viking previously, but I still had to pay for that imaginary person. Since the three of us had been to Barcelona before, we started in Madrid, visited there for several days, then took a train to Barcelona and immediately embarked on the ship. The embarkation process couldn't have been easier. We dropped our bags in one area, then proceeded through security. We checked in at a counter where we received our key cards, which serve as both room keys and cards to get on and off the ship. Then we went through passport control before walking up some ramps to board the ship. My brother-in-law was using a walker. An elevator and the ramps allowed him to board without any issues. We were greeted with wet hand towels and champagne, a nice touch. We then had to sit for a very short demonstration on using the life jacket. There was lunch being served at the buffet, so we grabbed some lunch while we waited to enter our rooms. We were told we couldn't go to our rooms until 3 p.m., but around 2 p.m. they announced that we were all able to enter our rooms. So we went to our rooms to unpack. My sister and brother-in-law called it a day, but I decided to use the rest of the day to see what I could of Barcelona. Viking had a shuttle that took me a short distance to the Christopher Columbus statue. From there I found a hop-on, hop-off bus and decided to take advantage of the easy transportation to refamiliarize myself with the city. I ended up never getting off. I had been to many of the places on a week-long trip to Barcelona several years ago, and I didn't want to repeat myself. There were a few places I should have gotten off to explore, but after hemming and hawing in consideration, I missed my opportunity. However, I did enjoy the over 2-hour ride around the city. I did wish I had exited the bus at the National Art Museum of Catalunya or Olympic Stadium, which are both on Montjuic. I had been there before, and the views from the mountain are spectacular. Once I had completed the loop on the bus, I walked up La Rambla, one of the main thoroughfares in Barcelona. It is very popular for tourists and was bustling that afternoon. Here's a short time-lapse video of the street that was undergoing construction. The next day we had booked tickets to La Sagrada Familia, the famous Spanish architect Antoni Gaudi's extraordinary cathedral. Although there was a free excursion through Viking, we opted to explore on our own. Now let me just say here that I've been to numerous cathedrals all over the world, and La Sagrada Familia is by far my favorite. I would go as far as to say that it is possibly my favorite building in the world. All of us had been there before, but we wanted to go back. I'll say here that what intrigues me about the cathedral is the creativity in design and the attention to detail. Here are a couple examples. The stained glass windows on one side are a gradient of cool colors that reflect on the rippled ceiling. On the other side are a gradient of warm colors. It is absolutely magical. I don't know how to explain the central ceiling, but it is ingenious and so imaginative. Everywhere you look is something astonishingly special. A caution for seniors or anyone with limited mobility. We had purchased an add-on to our tickets that allowed us to go up in one of the towers. My brother-in-law, who was using a walker, was not allowed to go. They told us we could get a refund by emailing, but it was declined since I didn't ask 48 hours in advance. There is an elevator that takes you up, but there are stairs you have to navigate to complete the journey. After our visit, we went back to the ship to begin enjoying its offerings. More on the ship experience later. Our first stop after leaving Barcelona was Madira, Portugal. I had never been there before and had heard great things about it. My sister and brother-in-law had signed up for the Viking excursion that included a cable car ride and the infamous toboggan run. Since they had a more deluxe room than this lowly solo traveler, The excursion was sold out by the time I was able to sign up for my excursion. So instead, I signed up for one that took me up in the same cable car and visited the Monte Palace Tropical Garden. A bus took my group from the Madeira port to the base of the cable car. The ride-up was quite beautiful, looking out to the ocean and up the volcanic mountain. Once at the top, we walked a short distance to the garden. The guide distributed tickets and told us we could follow her or venture out on our own. I opted to self-explore the vast gardens, which were simply beautiful. Take a look. After the gardens, I abandoned the tour group and took a chance that I could get on the toboggan ride, which was a short walk from the garden. Fortunately, it was only a 30-minute wait, and it was so fun. I completed my day exploring Funchal on my own, both the old and new town areas. I have posted detailed videos on Madeira and the toboggan run, so look for those in the description. For me, Madeira was the highlight of this voyage. 7 days later, the ship stopped in St. Martin. Unfortunately, they only gave us a short time to explore. The ship docked at 7 a.m., most excursions started at 9 a.m., and we had to be back on board at 12:30 p.m. I got off the ship right at 7 a.m., but nothing was open at the cruise port, and I was afraid to take a taxi anywhere in case it didn't make it back in time for my excursion. Right at 9 a.m., the motor coach excursion began and traveled on a loop around the island. We had 3 stops, including Lucas Bay, Marigot, and Coal Bay Hill. I felt like the tour gave me a good overview of the island, so consequently, I was a little less disappointed with the shortened touring time. I spoke with other passengers that participated in water activities, such as boating and snorkeling, and they all seemed to have a good time. I'm sure I would have enjoyed those activities too, but this was my first time on St. Martin, so I was glad I selected this highlight excursion, which allowed me to see much of the island. I have also posted a detailed video on St. Martin, so look for it in the description. There were 10 sea days on this journey, and rather than cover each of those days, I'll just say that there were plenty of things to keep you occupied, but also plenty of time for relaxation. There were 4 guest speakers on board and 2 to 3 lectures per day. There was a well-equipped gym, bago or cornhole, puzzles and games, musicians performing at numerous times and places around the ship, the pool and spa, evening entertainment, late-night music and dancing, special events such as napkin folding and crocheting, and my favorite, trivia. Here is my team after winning and receiving our reward of mimosas. In all honesty, I didn't think I would enjoy so many sea days, but I found it quite refreshing. I was able to work out every morning, catch up on reading, eat a variety of foods, and enjoy the vast expanse of ocean as we crossed the Atlantic. I had feared the ride might be rocky, but for the most part the waves were mild. The rockiest parts seemed to be in the Mediterranean and Caribbean. The weather warmed as we slowly traveled south, which had many of the passengers lounging on the top deck and enjoying the sun. When we arrived in Fort Lauderdale, we had to be out of our rooms by 8 a.m. and had to leave the ship by 9 a.m. All in all, a Viking's crossing was very enjoyable. For people that love the cruise experience and sea days, this would be a great cruise for you. Again, I have posted videos on the layout of the Viking Sky ship and the cruise destinations, and I've left links in the description. As always, if you have questions, feel free to ask in the comments section, and check out the Senior Solo Travel website, where all my videos are organized in an easy-to-access format, and the Travel Facebook forum, where you can interact with other travelers. And if you'd like to follow my senior and solo travel journeys, please like and subscribe. Cheers!